File. In this July 17, 2016 file photo, then Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort talks to reporters on the floor of the Republican National Convention at Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland as Rick Gates listens at back left. Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley is considering issuing subpoenas to Manafort and to FBI officials close to fired Director James Comey as part of the panel's investigation into Russian meddling in the 2016 elections. AP photo/Matt Rourke, file. Matt Rourke AP. Less than 2 weeks before Donald Trump accepted the Republican presidential nomination, his campaign chairman offered to provide briefings on the race to a Russian billionaire closely aligned with the Kremlin, according to people familiar with the discussions. Paul Manafort made the offer in an email to an overseas intermediary, asking that a message be sent to Oleg Deripaska, an aluminum magnate with whom Manafort had done business in the past. These people said, "If he needs private briefings we can accommodate," Manafort wrote in the July 7, 2016, email, portions of which were read to the Washington Post along with other Manafort correspondence from that time. The emails are among tens of thousands of documents that have been turned over to congressional investigators and special counsel Robert S. Mueller III's team as they probe whether Trump associates coordinated with Russia as part of Moscow's efforts to interfere in the 2016 U.S. election. FBI agents raided the home of President Trump's former campaign chairman Paul Manafort without warning on July 26 with a search warrant, and seized documents and other records, say people familiar with the special counsel investigation. The Washington Post. There is no evidence in the documents showing that Deripaska received Manafort's offer or that any briefings took place. And a spokeswoman for Deripaska dismissed the email exchanges as scheming by consultants in the notorious Beltway bandit industry. Nonetheless, investigators believe that the exchanges, which reflect Manafort's willingness to profit from his prominent role alongside Trump, created a potential opening for Russian interests at the highest level of a U.S. presidential campaign, according to people familiar with the probe. Several of the exchanges, which took place between Manafort and a Kiev-based employee of his international political consulting practice, focused on money that Manafort believed he was owed by Eastern European clients. The notes appear to be written in deliberately vague terms, with Manafort and his employee, Konstantin Kilimnik, never explicitly mentioning Deripaska by name. Investigators believe that key passages refer to Deripaska. The billionaire is referenced in some places by his initials, OVD, and one email invokes an expensive Russian delicacy in what investigators believe is a veiled reference to Manafort's past work with Deripaska. In one April exchange days after Trump named Manafort as a campaign strategist, Manafort referred to his positive press and growing reputation and asked, "How do we use to get whole?" Manafort spokesman Jason Maloney said Wednesday that the email exchanges reflected an innocuous effort to collect past debts. "It's no secret Mr. Manafort was owed money by past clients," Maloney said. Maloney said no briefings with Deripaska ever took place, but that, in his email, Manafort was offering what would have been a routine briefing on the state of the campaign. Vera Kirochkina, a spokeswoman for Rusal, the company led by Deripaska, on Wednesday derided inquiries from the Post that she said they're into manufactured questions so grossly false and insinuating that I am concerned even responding to these fake connotations provides them the patent of reality. The email exchanges add to an already perilous legal situation for Manafort, whose real estate dealings and overseas bank accounts are of intense interest for Mueller and congressional investigators as part of their examination of Russia's 2016 efforts. People close to Manafort believe Mueller's goal is to force the former campaign chairman to flip on his former Trump associates and provide information. In August, Mueller's office executed a search warrant during an early morning raid of Manafort's Alexandria, Virginia, condominium, an unusually aggressive step in a white-collar criminal matter. Mueller has also summoned Maloney, the Manafort spokesman, and Manafort's former lawyer to answer questions in front of a grand jury. Last month, Mueller's team told Manafort and his lawyers they believe they could pursue criminal charges against him and urged him to cooperate in the probe, providing information about other members of the campaign. The New York Times reported this week that Manafort had been threatened with indictment by prosecutors. The emails now under review by investigators and described to the Post could provide prosecutors with additional leverage. Gilmnick did not respond to requests.